What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie and Point, a mini-series review of the new Netflix original documentary, Fear City, New York vs. the Mafia. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy my channel, hit the notification button at the top to find out what's coming next, and comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So this documentary, Fear City, the New York vs. Mafia, it's a documentary that basically shows the late 70s to late 80s, dealing with the famous 5 crime families of New York. It dealt with Rudy Giuliani, depending on what you think of him, and how he helped take down these crime families, and it basically gives us a roadmap of how hard it was for the FBI to get information, to do all the things they needed to do to basically take down these 5 families. And it's a documentary that takes place over 3 parts. It's about 3 hours long, and it's a very kind of well shot documentary, a well designed documentary, but is not the most informative because for the most part, if you've seen stuff like The Godfather or Goodfellas or anything that Scorsese has done when it comes to crime stuff, you're going to feel really familiar, really at home. If you know like Whitey Bulger or anything like that, you're just going to feel right at home with this documentary because it's showing stuff that we kind of already knew about New York. We already knew about the Mafia. We know these people were dangerous. We know they were very good at what they did, but they were very stupid because they let the FBI wiretap them. You know, there are points where the FBI goes into their cars, puts a little wiretapping stuff in there, but they knew how to control things, and they did it so well that they were almost basically more powerful than the United States government in everything they did. I mean, there was whole segments of this documentary that talks about how powerful they were in New York City when it came to construction. I mean, every building that was being built around this time frame in New York City was usually by the Mafia, and because they could make billions and billions upon billions of dollars off of it. And you can see, like, if they didn't like how something was running, they could call strikes, and, you know, they were involved with the labor unions, they were involved with the laundry unions, they were involved with the hotel employees, so their level of grasp could create chaos and hysteria in any form or factor they wanted. And on top of that, if they felt something was slowly out of place, they could have someone killed. There are main figureheads that we learn about in this documentary that were killed off, you know, because of certain reasons. Paul Castellano was famously killed because, you know, he was the way he was, and John Gotti was seriously involved with his murder. It's just a really fascinating documentary that doesn't really give us anything new, which is really strange because, you know, when it comes to stuff like this and you feel like you've seen it a million times before, how does it make it still interesting? It's because the story is interesting. The idea of who these people were is extremely fascinating. As scary as it was, I don't want to come across any of these people. I hope I never come across any of these types of people, because you just know that if you go the wrong way, if you do this wrong thing, that it could come back and bite you in the ass in some form or fashion, involving your life. It could be, but this documentary, of course, has interviews, and we see a lot of the FBI that worked behind the scenes of dealing with these crime families, of listening to all their recordings. You know, at first we're kind of given the recordings and they're mumbled and muffled and stuff like that, and then as you start going along, they start adding in subtitles, and we start learning about all what they're doing, about the Concrete Club, about the commission, and that's when stuff starts really kind of getting interesting and kind of fascinating, because you're starting to learn the underworkings of either how smart this group of mafiosos really were, or just the idea that they were basically too big for their own good and they were going to fall eventually. I mean, there are interviews with certain people that worked with these people, with these mafiosos and mafia people, that just said, like, we just, you know, we loved what we did what we did, you stepped out of line, you got killed, you know, and they don't have regrets about what they did. But they talk about how much fear, when the final end came to this, you know, of them being arrested and stuff like that, that it created. I mean, you are something like in a mafia group and everything goes down, you have a chance of losing your life, or, you know, so on and so forth. But it's also interesting to watch the respect that the mafia people had for one another, the honor and respect, even though they were very disgusting individuals. So it's really fascinating to see that point of view, that these people worked like a business, that they worked in an honor system, that if you stepped out of line, you could be killed, but as long as you did what you needed to do and you did it respectfully. And that's why Ralph Scopio, who was just a soldier, and a foot soldier is like the person that goes and beats up the local marketer or whatever to get money, extract money, or extort money from them and so on and so forth. But I think as a whole, as the documentary as a whole, it does fail on the level of just us knowing a lot about it. I think it could have been much longer, and kind of, this is the problem with documentaries. Sometimes they don't explore enough. Sometimes they explore too much, and sometimes they don't explore enough. I mean, we got a 9-episode documentary about the McDonald's scandal. So I think you could really delve into the mafia. You could do like a Ken Burns style mafia documentary and just get really down into the nuts and bolts of how these people operate. Yes, you get in this documentary, but it's more of like an underlining, almost like level surface type of thing. It's something you would like see in like Black Mass with Johnny Depp, or, you know, like Goodfellas or stuff like that. You're seeing the level surface, but you're not seeing the real deepness to it. You know, I think the thing that maybe got closest, American Gangster, where you felt like the deepness of these characters kind of getting involved. The Departed was very, very similar, and kind of it's getting into the deep nuts and bolts of these characters. But with that said, I still think what the director and the producers were doing here was presenting something that is still serviceable, that is still digestible, that is still giving an honest view of what was going on in this era and how much of an accomplishment it really was for people like Rudy Giuliani and the FBI, and how much it changed everything for the course of, you know, the future of New York City and the future of Mafia. It doesn't say the Mafia is not still around, because they probably are, but if you look at it from a respect and aspect of what was going on and how crazy and zany and shockingly disturbing it truly got, with the drug dealings and the murders and stuff like that, it's still an impressive documentary. It still does have a good purpose for 3 hours. I just wish it could have been longer. So I still definitely recommend it, even if you know a lot about this type of stuff with the Mafia and the five families. Like I said, the five families are hugely famous and hugely well known as being extremely powerful for what they did, but they just didn't do good things. It was a really, really sad and scary thing to watch. So still go watch it. I still think you'll enjoy it. It is very, very graphic. There are photographs and video footage of people dead. I mean, it is what it is. It is the Mafia, so you do see these things in these type of documentaries. So but that's it. That is my take on Fear City, New York versus the Mafia. Let me know in the comments below if you watch this. What do you think of it? Do you think, like I do, that it could have been longer, more in depth, you know, so on and so forth? But otherwise, if you like this video, hit that like button. Awesome. If you dislike it, hey, it is what it is. But also subscribe to the channel, Movie Emporium, if you enjoy my channel, as well as that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. But otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these 2 videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.